All right, we're going live. Have a bunch of really fun stuff to go over. So let's get on to chat right away. No build up or wait on this one. So happy Friday, all. It has been a bit crazy. I know I'm at a little bit odd time right now. So I initially do these a little bit earlier in the morning, but I actually had to travel midweek and I'm just getting back. So it has been a little bit crazy, but we got some fun topics going over. I've gotten a lot of questions through Twitter, even some Twitch chat. I thought, hey, this would just be a good video to just kind of fill everybody in for the news of the week because it has been a crazy week. Like, really crazy. So first off, out of the gate, I'll go ahead and just kind of address this and probably point you to a video that actually Linus Tech Tips made because he actually made some good observations about the 30 series graphics card, and Wendell from Level 1 Techs even mentioned it in a tweet as well. And that's going over the 30 series card. A lot of people have been talking about SRIOV. And if you're not in the know on that, basically it's really big to us Linux users because it means we could virtualize Windows and pass through our graphics card while also using it on our host operating system, which is huge. It means you would no longer need two graphics cards. You could actually just say, hey, I'm going to spin up a Windows VM, play my games, and it'd have basically hardware access to that card and be able to play games and other things without having to do all the other shenanigans we've done in the past, which you can, probably put a link after this is over up there to like my PCI pass-through series I did last year. So it's kind of an amazing time on this, but I wanted to touch on this because some things he alluded to, and also Wendell from Level 1 Techs alluded to, was the possibility of SRIOV in NVIDIA cards. As much as I would love that to happen, and while technically they are right, business-wise, I've said in the past, and I'll say it right here, right now, NVIDIA is just not going to do this. For those in business, interfacing with data centers and just real big business, typically NVIDIA has a product line called Grid. It's a licensing deal, and they make a lot of money, millions, if maybe even billions. I don't even know the actual metrics on it, but I do know if they did open source and use something like a more open protocol like SRIOV, it could cost them that business. And I just don't see NVIDIA shooting themselves in the foot like this. So those holding out hope for the 30 series having SRIOV, it's probably just not going to happen. I think that's pie in the sky, us just wishful thinking. So yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and do that. And I will address some questions here at the end too. I see them in chat already about GitLab, ZanMod, and some others. So save them to the end of the stream. I'll definitely answer them. Also in the news, I just put Microsoft for this next bullet point here, guys. And Microsoft, I already did that earlier in the week video about Microsoft and, well, them buying out Bethesda. Everyone's talked this one to death. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but probably what you didn't see was today Windows XP source code was leaked. Does that matter? Well, not really. It's old. It's been end of life for about 6 years. Heck, Windows 7's end of life right now. So not a big deal. However, what I found from that leak was the entire private repositories of Microsoft were hacked, which means Windows XP isn't the only project that's out and about on like 4chan. I think 4chan's where everything got posted for the XP source code. So I'm curious to see. I don't think it's the end of this story. So be watching out for XP and a lot of the stuff that's happening. For those that think like someone's going to do a spinoff and like secure XP and like update it, forget about it. That ain't happening. Microsoft would sue them to oblivion, and I don't think there's enough developers really to even make all that work with the Windows kernel and all that. So don't think that's going to be a thing. I think there was a couple articles out there thinking, hey, this might happen. but I am more curious to see what other repositories got leaked and what happens in the coming weeks to a month. So be watching out for that. So I, and kind of circling back, thanks for the question there, Don. How was the wedding? I actually just came back from a wedding midday, actually yesterday. I kind of did a little live stream over on Twitch because I just was so tired. I really couldn't do much else other than just live stream over there. But it was good. It was good. I had a lot of good times. A friend of mine from high school, or actually no, from kindergarten, I've known for pretty much all my life. I was the best man at his wedding, and it was on a Wednesday. It was kind of weird with everything going on in the world. So, but it was really good. It's just a little tiring and stuff. And yeah, so the that's pretty much what's going on right now in the tech world. From what I got, bullet points. Just I get these questions all the time. I thought I'd just kind of address those. And going in the future, and some channel changes that I'm actually making is audio. My audio has been off or overly compressed for like the past like 10 videos. So this next video, I'm changing it up. So usually how this works is I break my audio, or it turns out being worse before it gets better, kind of thing. So we'll see how the audio actually does on my next video. Not Sunday, but next week's video is probably going to be the first one with my new audio settings. So if you guys are wondering what's up with my audio, that's just me kind of doing some updates to the channel, some production things in the background. And in that same regard, for those that have done memberships in the past with me or done Patreon, please note I've transitioned completely over to a whole different platform this past couple weeks, something I've been working on in the back end. You guys can see it by going to christitus.com, clicking members. There's a whole portal there, and I'm just kind of building that out, and it should have it completely live by the end of the month. If you are a member on christitus.com or did that, all those memberships that aren't going through portal.christitus.com, I will be canceling all those. So if you see an email or something for those members that done that, just know that I just want to make sure I cancel any of the old platforms so you don't get double billed. And if you do, just contact me at my email through the website, and I'll be sure and clear that up for you guys. So that's kind of the other things going on. And I wanted to, as the final topic here, just kind of go over something I get. I got a great email, and the email basically said, hey, what's your opinions on Linux adoption, things going on in the Linux community, Windows and Linux combined, those types of things. Most people have noticed that my views have kind of changed or evolved over the past year. And you might have noticed I've been doing a little more Windows content, and I will probably continue splitting my time between Windows and Linux. I did some Mac stuff. My Mac videos and just Mac in general, I really, I don't think I'll continue using that operating system at all, except for maybe the occasional one-off video. So most of my focus will be more refocused on Windows and Linux, as that's just kind of where my expertise lie. So play to my strengths. And so if you're looking at videos, you may have noticed over the past month or two, I've done a couple Mac videos, and that was just kind of a fun little offshoot doing like Hackintoshes and stuff. But I know a lot of my upcoming videos are all going to be Windows Linux based. And that's because, well, and this may make some folks mad, but I will be kind of changing and integrating more both Linux and Windows at the same time, because I don't want to say I've given up on Linux gaming, because I still love Linux gaming. But the one thing over this past week that has taught me is I don't think Linux gaming is ever going to take over. It's a shift in my prior point of view, where I thought, well, hey, this is just so great, everyone's going to use it. And after seeing how big business has kind of swooped in and done things, I think Linux gaming is going to be always a thing because of the weight Valve has, but it'll never be, I think, mainstream as many people make it. So that's kind of where I'm at on that front. It's one of those things where I will always have my finger on the pulse, so to speak, when it comes to Linux gaming, and it's something I'm always going to push. But just know, a lot of times when you see me playing a game or whatnot, sometimes it will be Windows and sometimes it will be Linux. It just depends on the game. But a lot of that shift has happened where I'm probably going to be doing some more virtualization videos and things like that, because I want people to use Linux. For those that want to use Linux, I want them to be able to full-time it. And that's always been a big focus of my channel. But it's something that I want to expand on, where if you want to use Windows for certain things like Office, Adobe, certain games that have DRM attached to them, and honestly, for those that just want to live in Windows, you can. And I just want to make that experience better, as I've just kind of dabbled in that section. And a lot of people wonder how I do things, and how I do them is I always am incorporating Windows and Linux together. So that's my day-to-day. I live in both operating systems every single day. When I say I'm cutting back on Mac, it's really, I made a video where I was like, hey, I'm using Mac, Windows, and Linux on a daily basis, and I find Mac doesn't help my productivity or my workflow. So that's why I ended up cutting Mac out of my daily driver. Not to say I won't ever make a Mac video, because I will. It's just that it's no longer going to be in my daily workflow. Like I made a video, I think a month and a half ago, where I say, hey, I'm using all three. And just know I'm kind of cutting that out to where I'm always obsessed with the most efficient, best way to use a computer. And I see this changing rapidly in the future, to where I always want to be the fastest, use it the best and most efficient way. So if that's Linux, if it's Windows, if it's Mac, that's what I always choose. Just that's where it wins. So I'm completely agnostic as far as what it is. I think Linux is what I'll remain as my daily driver for probably forever, but we'll see what happens. You never know. Linux could definitely take a sharp right turn into the ditch. You just don't know with these things. And it's something that I'm always pushing. But right now, that's where my daily driver lives. And when I'm playing games, a lot of times I find myself using Windows instead of a lot of the Wine and Proton and Steam Linux counterparts when it is one of the games that has trouble on Linux. So that's where I'm at with all that. So I just wanted to update you guys on channel changes, the membership changes, kind of how I'm using my daily computers here. I'm also downsourcing, like this computer right here above my head is probably going to go bye-bye. I'm going to be just taking it down to 2 PCs and building out a new box with new motherboard, CPU, GPU, and building it a little bit better. And I'm probably going to use Intel for that, which is going to be kind of a shock to a lot of folks, I think. So that's where I'm at with everything. And yeah, so if you guys have any questions, let me know. And I will start taking some chat questions, because it has been a little bit wild of a week. As far as the good and bad, I alluded to earlier. The good was the wedding. The bad was probably whenever I get a text from a doctor, I got to go take a test. So for the old COVID, so that'll be fun. So that was about 3 days ago, and we'll see if see what that ends up being. I don't think it's going to be anything. Either way, it'll be fine. It's just, if I end up having to quarantine for 2 weeks because of something bad that comes from this, just know you might be seeing a lot more videos, because I'll be living in this little tiny room. So that's where I'm at. But yeah, as far as why I would go Intel, so this is a weird one. I'm kind of a contrarian. A lot of times I pick points of view because I think they're just not well represented in the computing industry. I like to do things that kind of just go against the grain. Right now, everyone's building AMD chips. Everyone's building AMD systems. And as much as I hate Intel, because on the about Intel's 3rd generation, I had a motherboard issue, and I ended up having to replace both the CPU and motherboard because the chipsets always change. You're always buying those combos between Intel generations for the most part, where AMD is a lot more lenient, and you can actually stretch out a motherboard over 3 or 4 generations usually. That's why I love AMD, but at the same time, Intel, as much as I like AMD better than Intel as just a company, I find in business I'm still using Intel because they're more reliable. I hate to say that out loud, and it kind of sounds bad, but it's the truth. And I err on that side of things. Now, as far as best bang for the buck, AMD all the way, of course. That's why people are buying so many AMDs. But that's why I go with Intel, is more for the reliability aspect. I'm not switching everything to Intel, mind you. My video production rigs, it would be silly to switch to Intel because I will be utilizing a ton of those threads, and the bang for buck is just ridiculously higher over Intel in that respect. But for like my gaming rigs and my singular task computers, Intel, it just makes more sense for me. So that's where AMD and Intel switch off in that regard. And I just want to just kind of throw that out there for those that are wondering in chat why I would do such a thing. That would be why. And I'm also working with some other folks too, as about getting some other stuff going on. As far as music going, I'm gonna be actually switching out my music, which actually I forgot to actually even play some nice background music, which I'm gonna go ahead and remedy that real quick because I hate the awkward dead silence I get sometimes. We'll see how that does. Wait till October 8th, see what AMD has to offer in the CPU space. I agree with you. I'll definitely wait for the next generation. I'm really curious to see what they do with PCIe. Intel has been known to, well, I think they gimped PCIe in this next generation, and AMD is really just kind of taken off with PCIe. So waiting till October or mid-October is definitely what I will do because I want to see what that difference is. Preliminary reports show a single-digit difference between those PCIe restrictions that Intel did compared to AMD. So if that's the case, I'll probably still go Intel. But if it does end up being a substantial performance difference and gaming comes out way ahead, well, I'll definitely be switching that up. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And one thing I didn't actually show you guys, when I was talking about SRIOV, speaking of AMD, let's take a kind of a little bit of a turn here. I wanted to show you all this because this was an older article from 2019. AMD, I think it's going to be my next one. Whether or not RDNA 2 is worth it or not, one, getting a hold of a 30 series card is a big issue. But as I said, I have almost zero hope for SRIOV ever coming to NVIDIA. I've given up on that. But RDNA 2, I think if Intel makes a smart play here, I think it could work. Because back in late 2019, show here, they're integrating SRIOV directly into Linux 5.6, which almost every Arch instance has been on, or it's actually on 5.8 right now, I think, or maybe 5.9, right in there. So I'm curious to see the SRIOV work on the new chips if they're enabled on RDNA 2, and then I could see this being the future of using a computer because I'd love to cull everything down into just one PC instead of just having the two that I have now. So I'm curious to see this, and that's probably why in my next computer build, when you guys see me, I will be using an AMD card instead of the NVIDIA. NVIDIA always has the top tier market, and a lot of people know I'm kind of cheap, or I like to use the term frugal, but I don't ever have bleeding edge tech here. It's just not my thing. I don't like going out spending thousands of dollars for something that's going to be worth half that in 6 months. And that's what you get with bleeding edge tech. So while the 30 series cards, even if I could get my hands on one, I might buy one, but I think I'm going to do the RDNA 2 route because I think they'll probably have another better bang for the buck. Just like in the CPUs, I think back to the RX 500 and 400 series, which I absolutely loved. They were cheap cards and they just were fantastic performers, as that's still what I do today. Like, oh, here, let me flip over to here and just do a Neo fetch for you guys. I still love these cards and I still use the 500 series and 400 series cards everywhere. I actually have a bunch is just backup, and I'll continue holding these cards because even for just base games, these are about 150 to 200 bucks right now. And they'll probably drop to almost nothing after the new RDNA 2 launch. And I'll probably be doing a giveaway of all my old stock. So probably sometime early next year to mid next year on the channel, I will be doing a giveaway of about 5 of these cards and just giving them out because these are excellent cards for both Windows and Linux users. You can do pretty much anything you want for that. So, and yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with that. While I probably, I would imagine the NVIDIA 30 series coming out ahead of the newer AMD cards, as long as the AMD cards are somewhat competitive and they have a good bang for buck, I will be going AMD just because, well, as I said at the start here, that I really love AMD. I love how open source the drivers are, and the work on this specifically interests me. Where NVIDIA, as much as like Linus and Wendell from Level 1 Techs want to see that top tier get SRIV support, I just don't think that's going to happen. And why dream of pie in the sky and say, hey, these are my dreams? I want reality, and the realistic in me, or the realistic in me, that's not a thing. I'm having a blank. I'm still a little bit jet lagged from all the driving I've been doing. But realistically, AMD is probably going to be the first to conquer this, and it's going to probably be on Linux, and it's going to be amazing. I would love to get that scoop. So that's kind of what that's about. So I just kind of want to show that one article, just kind of showcase the SRIV that a lot of people are talking about in tech circles right now. But a lot of that talk is with NVIDIA, and I think that's just silly. So, but other than that, man, that's been the full week of news. Something I want to catch up of everybody on, and just say, hey, this is kind of what is happening, what I'm doing, kind of my plans for the future, what you're gonna see, and yeah, it's just been a blast. So. Yeah, that's all I have. I wanted to make kind of a short stream for today. If you guys have any more questions, be sure to ask in chat. Peter, how did you get the Bing pictures working on Awesome? Oh man, I got to show you guys this. So if you're interested in this project, let me go back to my desktop. So here's the Bing pictures. Right here, I'm using Variety. So this Variety, which I need to fix my actual PyCom translucent effects here, but I'm just using Variety. This is actually made by, I can't remember his name, but he's a genius and has done just great things with wallpapers where you can do Bing, you can do Flickr, you can pull from Unsplash, you can do Google Earth. I mean, just pick your poison here, and just do that. And you can add quotes to the desktop, so you'll see like little quotes. And yeah, it's just fun. So this is a great project. I recently made a video about desktop wallpapers, and then I found this direct. That always happens. Whenever I make a video, I always find something better like a week later. And that's where this is, this Variety project. I think they have a Windows client too. And yeah, peterlevy.com is the person that made it. It's all open source. Oh, it's on Launchpad actually. So you can download it, but I'm using Arch here But I thought I'd mention that, as that's just another good one too. Thoughts on Manjaro 20? I don't really. I love Manjaro for what it is, but I just haven't really been trying many distros. Although I did try a new distro for Sunday's video, which is weird. It was like a hybrid between Windows and Linux, and they really tried to integrate Windows and Linux together to do some crazy things and make it look and feel exactly like Windows. So that's Sunday's video, actually, is going over a new distro. But as far as Manjaro 20, I'm curious to see what happens. Manjaro's typically does a better job with every release. Philip Mueller is a great guy. I've actually talked to him in chat and gone back and forth with him. Brilliant developer, so I'm sure the new Manjaro release will be even improvement. So for you guys that love Manjaro, I think you can't really go wrong with that. I still need to do this right here, this stream PC I have that I always am streaming on. I still need to do a video on it showing people how I do production and just overall setup, because having that has been clutch in the past 6 months. Should do a chat with Endeavor OS. Yeah, I'll definitely probably pick out. I don't like covering distros so much. I like really kind of going over applications and things that really impact things, because at the end of the day, I don't really even care what distro I'm on, whether it's Linux or not. Hey, it's all the same to me at the end of the day. It's just, hey, what use am I doing it for? If it's like a Streambox or something like that, or something I need really stable, it'll be Debian based. If it's something I want to play with and install tons of crap, usually it'll be Arch based. But the rest of actual distro spins and that type of thing that pretty much every YouTuber goes over, they don't really interest me. And if I'm not interested by something, I typically just don't like covering it, as I just get bored. And if I'm bored, typically the person watching my video will be bored. So that's why I just kind of avoid them. That's why I don't really go over distros that much. I think Linux is, Blackworm says, I think Linux is the future gaming because the future is cloud and subscriptions. This is very, very true. If it does go to cloud-based gaming, Linux, I think, would see a big spike. And as I covered it, I think, 2 weeks ago with GeForce Now, that was not bad. It still wasn't there for competitive gaming, like FPSs, like doing the Fortnite. I got a kill or two, which is actually very surprising because I don't play that game. But it was still like, if I was going up against a competitive gaming, you're still going to sacrifice probably 40 or 50 latency when you do these cloud-based games. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. So competitive gaming is always going to be a sticking point and always going to be room for Windows, probably for at least 5 to 10 years. And that's just based on infrastructure in the United States, as infrastructure here and internet speeds are always a sticking point, something that's always kind of moving. So that's why cloud-based gaming isn't really a thing for competitive gamers and FPS people, and that's why I always recommend Windows for that type of thing, and kind of what it'll be like probably for several years at least. And that's the big thing. I will say those data centers and cloud gaming themselves, the actual hardware behind them, are very, very impressive, and I think they're pretty much ready for prime time. The bottleneck's just internet speed. Remix OS. So Avi, actually, I've actually been asked about Remix OS a couple times, and that was actually one of the very first, which Remix OS, if you guys don't know, is basically Windows Server 2000 reimagined and open sourced. I think pretty much reverse engineered. And while it was fun nostalgia wise, Remix OS has no real point other than the nostalgia point. I would never use it as a daily driver. And while it's a fun project and they've done a pretty good job with it, why go back 20 years in time to one of the best Microsoft releases, mind you, but it was still 20 years old and not really a place in 2024. Tmux versus screen. Tmux, man. That's not a question. People don't use screen over Tmux unless you're doing like scripting or something in the background where you're not interfacing with the terminal. Using Tmux in a proper multiplexer is just amazing. So Tmux all the way on that one. I love me some Tmux. I actually, check this out. There's a good project online, and I'm going to get you the link if you're any Tmux users out in the crowd. It is amazing. I'm going to see if you guys can see. Here we go. Custom Tmux. This isn't my project on GitHub, but it'll change your life if you're a Tmux user. It is sweet. This guy did such a great job with theming. And you can put battery life on here. You can do all kinds of different things. It shows like the different. It's clean. It's sweet. So here's something for you Tmux users. Check out that project. This guy, sponsor him if you guys love it and you're using it every day. As any open source project, I always like using open source projects for Windows, Linux, Mac, whatever. Open source, I always, if there's a better alternative in open source, I always try and push it. So that's a great project. Check it out. But yeah, don't use Screen for day-to-day use. Screen's more for scripting and like maybe a headless server you're never going to touch. That's a really good one. So, do you use LSD? I'm not big into acid, man. What do you mean by that acronym? That's the first thing that popped in my head. Do you know why chocolatey apps don't show on Windows Search? Windows Search, I think there's an actual search function you can use from PowerShell. Windows Search uses Bing, I think, as a default. I actually went over switching this over to Google, as Google Search is considerably better than Bing. But I think that video is almost 2 years old, so pretty long on the tooth at this point. But that, if you're not getting chocolatey results from just a straight start menu search or a Windows search, it's because it's not using Google. And I think they're trying to push like, what is it, WinGet? And I've looked at that project. It's not great. It's not matured enough yet. But for the most part, I hate Windows Search, and I always rip it out and disable it. I also don't trust that it's disabled, so I actually go through on the hard drive itself and actually disable indexing on all of C drive, or if I have secondary hard drives, I always like disabling it there too, as if that service gets re-enabled, it won't have anything in the actual catalog to index and won't take away performance. So I hate all that. If you're looking for a third-party search, everything is a great alternative to Windows Search for those that are really love computer-based search. Bing is better on image and video search. It's been a while since I've done that image and video search. I did do like a Bing switch for like 30 days just to do it, and it was not great. Let's just say I liked my Google results a lot better. And I've actually tried DuckDuckGo as well too, and I don't know if it's the personalization and the spying that Google does, but it always typically wins out on search for just practicality purposes. But I still use DuckDuckGo for some things. Yeah. T-Chili actually talked about the Windows XP source code leak. It's interesting. While I don't care too much about it, I am curious to see what other projects got leaked because they did hack their entire repository at Microsoft, which I went over at the start of there. So we'll see what actually pops up from that. Any thoughts about Windows AME? I actually made a video this past week, and I need to apologize to any of the subscribers in the crowd because all my live streams going forward, I'm just going to make public afterwards. I just said, forget it. If the YouTube algorithm punishes me for these live streams, so be it. I'm just going to leave them public. But I went back through and made public all my past live streams, and then it just flooded everybody's inboxes, and I was just like, oh no. Even like months old live streams that I made public ended up hitting people's inboxes. So I apologize for that. Not intentional. There's a little checkbox during notifications. As I was going through my video list on YouTube, I was just making them public. I didn't realize they were actually sending out notifications. So I'm sorry, but I bring that up for the Windows AME thing because I made a video the day I did that, and an hour after I published that video, that's when I flooded everybody's inbox. So this video actually died. It actually got like 3,000 views and was like #1 for the first hour, and then it just died. So check this out. It's this one right here, which I didn't really even get anything on here, which AME, ISOs, scripts, the best way to basically speed up Windows 10. This one, it only got 5,000 views. 3,000 of those views were the first hour until, well, I messed up on YouTube and it basically just buried this video. So if you haven't seen this and you're curious about Windows 10 debloat, there's a link for y'all to check that out. It's best way to speed it up. I go over Windows AME, I go over custom ISOs where you strip out some components, and then I also go over just using scripts like my PowerShell scripts I use to cut down on Windows. So there's a lot of different ways. Well, hello, Slovakia. Thank you, Jacob. Please, please, please help me fix the IO error. So I get a lot of emails and stuff about fixing specific issues. Somewhere in the neighborhood about 10 to 20 emails a day about specific fixes of computer issues. I don't do contract work for that. And a lot of my skill sets reside in the business side of things, especially data centers. So my hourly rates usually are around 250 to 300 an hour, which I'm not going to charge someone to fix a residential PC that kind of money. That's just ridiculous. So that's why I don't usually, unless it's something I can just be like, oh, hey, just go here, that'll fix your issue. Sometimes that happens, and I might respond and say that. But if it's something that takes any amount of time, I don't want to charge you for that. And that's why if I get a lot of emails about it, I'm not saying, hey, don't send me issues via email or whatnot. I'm just saying, if it's a lot of one specific thing, I might make a video over it that can help a lot of people all at once for free, which is great. But I don't actually offer any support services because a lot of my business stuff would obviously my time's just worth more elsewhere than just one-off residential PC. So that's what's going on there. I don't want to charge my time, which is admittedly expensive, to someone that they could easily take it somewhere else, get it done for a third or a fourth or a tenth of the price I would charge. As I'm always obsessed with providing good value for folks. As I said, I'm frugal, and I think everyone should be frugal and not blow their money on silly stuff. So as much as I love to help a lot of little issues, if I get enough of one little issue, I will make a video to try and help everyone all at the same time, but I don't do independent support. So at least not now, because I still have my day job and YouTube. And also I have some side interests, which you guys, I've touched a little bit on videos. Cryptocurrencies been a side thing for me about 3 to 4 years, actually a little bit longer than YouTube's. In this past month or two has been amazing on that side of things, to where I've been putting a lot more time in on that facet of things in the crypto realm. But I don't like talking about it on YouTube because a lot of the crypto community is just real scammy and just nasty, and that's why I really don't talk about that very often. So can you fix Titus Coin now? Yeah, David, as far as doing that type of thing on YouTube, I really want to make loyalty coins and stuff for YouTube chat. I haven't gotten around to it, as the YouTube API right now is terrible. I've submitted every single survey I can take on YouTube. I always submit, hey, fix your chat API. That's the one thing I miss a lot about Twitch, was the chat API in Twitch was phenomenal. I absolutely loved the chat API in Twitch. So that's what's up there. Oh, okay. I didn't realize. Oh, you know what? Here, I'll turn off the music. There you go. I just changing up the music a bit. I need to fix that. I have been messing around with my audio settings, and something I'm still chasing a little bit. And I want to make some more subtle background music that just fills in some of that dead air a little bit. But yeah, I just looked at my levels on that secondary stream, and I was like, ooh, yeah, that music is a little bit loud. Oh, yeah, no, I'll fix it. There's a happy medium to everything on the music. Here, let's come with a compromise. I'm gonna take it down. We'll take it down about 5 dB, so you get a little subtle music. How's that? There you go. I'm all about compromise. AMG, hello. How are you doing? All right, guys. Well, I just kind of want to fill everybody in. I love doing the Friday streams just to catch everybody up. I know this one was a little bit later in the day. I love just kind of coming in here, having some news stories, just kind of catch everybody up on that, and then also just telling people what's coming as far as the future and how I kind of see things playing out. I absolutely love that whole interaction, just kind of talking with y'all, getting a good beat of things, because it helps me make videos, helps me stay in tune, and also helps me kind of get immediate feedback from y'all. So I will be continue doing this every single week. So if you missed this one, you can always catch the next one. As every Friday, I usually do it. I usually do like about 10 a.m. Just because it's a little easier for me. Today, like I said, I was just so backed up with everything going on in life. I really just haven't actually gotten enough time to do it earlier, but I do want to do more off-stream things. I still do chill streams over on Twitch. Typically, those are only about 20 viewers. So my Twitch streams are really, really small. A lot of times I'm just sitting there playing a game, just kind of hanging out, and then you can come in and ask me anything. So if I missed your question today, follow me over on Twitch. I don't have a schedule or anything crazy over there. Typically, it's just when I'm real tired or I'm just kind of wanting to hang out and not do anything, I'll pop up a little Twitch stream, maybe once a week or twice a week, depending on the week. And you can always hit me up there if there's something you want a little more personal interaction. Like I said, it's only about 20 people, so you don't have the hundreds of folks like you have all with YouTube. And yeah, that's where I am. I do have Among Us, so I haven't played it yet. I will. I just I bought it, and it's just been sitting in my Steam library as well. That's just how I roll. I usually buy games on Steam and then never play them. But I will play Among Us. You know what? If I have time this weekend, I'll play it as well. So I'll update y'all on this. I do love that, but I kind of just reserve Twitch for just chill streams, no news, no tech, like articles or anything like I did today. This was just kind of thrown together. Next week's stream will be a little bit more structured, and I always say that, but you guys know what's up. But anyways, hit me up over there, and I'm gonna go ahead and shut down for the day. Thank you all for hanging out and just kind of asking some questions. Again, if you missed anything there, by all means, you can hit me up over on Twitch, but also christitus.com. I do have that new members portal that I set up, and that portal is completely active. Right now, there's only one tier. I'm removing Patreon altogether. I guess I should have done that as yeah, here's one last tidbit then. I have removed Patreon, ended pretty much all of that. I'm canceling all existing subscriptions. So if you already have a subscription, please note I probably will cancel that here at this end of this week. That's obviously not smart from a financials perspective, but if I'm not posting somewhere, I don't want to be charging someone money for that. So I will be canceling all existing memberships from Patreon. Also, I will be canceling all memberships from the old membership on christitus.com before I switched over to the new platform this last couple weeks. I'll send out an email. If I'm canceling, I'll be sure and send you an email about that, kind of also reiterating that. But I wanted to get off Patreon. I wanted to do kind of my own end-to-end solution that is able to provide more value than what I was giving on Patreon, because I feel bad when I take money and I don't provide enough value for what you guys have given me. And I just want to show my gratitude and appreciation by making that new platform and just saying, hey, here's what we got. And this week, actually today, I'm finishing up a Linux cheat sheet that I'll be uploading within the next week to that new platform. So you guys will have that if you have membership. If you don't, you just want the cheat sheet, I'll be making a christitus.com post and then probably do like a PDF or something for like a $1 for those non-members that you could download if you want to say, hey, thanks for this. If not, then just copy paste from the webpage. So all that's kind of coming. So much new stuff and working on the audio. You know, audio is something I have been chasing for 2 years, and it's something that I will probably continue chasing. I tell you what, audio engineering, you guys, if there's any audio engineers in the audience, you guys are really the real MVP of pretty much any news or any media you watch. Getting good audio is so difficult. But something I always change or always am going for. Something I'll get there one day, Peter. One day I'll get there with my audio settings. But this last bit, I was rewatching one video I made, and it was just way too compressed. It was my voice was too thin. There wasn't enough presence. I was just sitting there going, oh, this is terrible. So thank you for hanging in there when I have technical difficulties or just having audio problems. Podcast eventually. Maybe I'll turn this into a video/podcast. Do the Joe Rogan approach. It seemed to work out for him. Maybe Spotify will offer me $1 million, or what is it, 100 million actually. That, I'm not greedy. I'll take a 100th of that. but anyways, and also Sparky. That's the store. Chris Titus. If there's any merch, we got new merch in there. We've set that all up. That goes through a different vendor. It's not just the YouTube junk from Teespring. This is actually a good store where you'll get quality products. So with all that, I'll see y'all in the next one. Love y'all. Have a fantastic weekend. And I look forward to doing this every week. And again, yeah, you guys know where everything is. Check the description for any of the links. And have a great one. Whoa, that was too much. Too much on the audio. Too much. Blasting you guys out. Bye, y'all.